how to learn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I can't hear myself. I don't.
Can't hear myself either.
Okay, so I could hear myself now. My mic was
Can't hear
down.
myself. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
I can hear you. So, John, I'm gonna tell you right now before I even do any introduction, I got a complaint today. You know what they said?
What the hell is new?
No, I got a complaint today, right? You want to hear what the
What's the
complaint
complaint?
is? They said, put your face next to the mic. You're too far back and you're hard to hear. So that was a complaint. So I'm just telling you up front. And it came from, somebody like you don't want to say no to.
Oh, you mean your mother?
I don't want to say no.
You mean your
No,
mother?
no, it wasn't my mom. It wasn't
Oh,
my mom.
it's your
It was-
mother.
Dr. Brian, how you
No,
doing?
no. Little Juju.
Yeah.
Dr.
Hey, little Juju. How you doing, little Juju? How you doing, little Juju? You're not gonna answer?
Good evening. And it's
Oh,
Dr.
good evening. So dry. Hey, little Juju, how you doing?
Good evening.
Hey,
Good
kid.
evening, villagers. How
Oh,
are
yeah,
you?
we need to work on her, boy. We need to, John, you need to work on her. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for our show here starting in April.
The vigilance before we get started. Look at my man's jacket.
I like my jacket. All right.
Look at my man's jacket.
All right.
What a fashion statement.
All right. So welcome all joining us right here in the village. First and foremost, please do like us on Facebook, but most importantly, I want you to do our subscribe button on YouTube. So hit the subscribe button. It's very important that you do that. As we are trying to build, you're helping us to build. You can hear us when you're driving home on 92.1 FM GD radio right here in Radio Jamaica, Florida, and the Bronx. And we can also hear us on Gospel JA in the Caribbean. If you're driving around Jamaica, you could just listen to us on Gospel JA and Radio 4 Jamaica as well. Get his up on the Facebook page and all of us on Roderick F. Daly, Joanne Bryant, John Sampson, Andre Dolman, Sophia Willisey, the Village Facebook page. And thank you for those of you who are liking our page. We appreciate that. And thank you those of you who have subscribed to our YouTube channel. It has gone up. And so, but if you didn't do it, you're not the reason. You're the reason why we're still on the air. So we appreciate that. But I need you to give us the reason why YouTube need to say, hey, you know what, we need to move the show. So as you know, the Village Talk Show is dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today. Success is not just spoken, it is done. What are you doing to be successful? So, John, how was your week?
You know what? My week was great, and the culmination today of Miss New Justice Jackson being confirmed to be.
Man, I asked you how was your day. I didn't ask you to start with the news right away, man. Tell us about your day first, man.
My day.
Oh my God, I tell you.
And the completion of that excitement was her confirmation.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
Right, but that is big though. That's a big topic. How about you? Before we get to congratulations, America, it's about time. How was your day? How's your week, Dr. Brian?
My week was just fine.
Oh Jesus, man! Yo, can you help us out, man? My day, by week. How was your week?
It was fine. That's great.
All right, yeah, move on. All right, so we're talking about Doctor. I'm just kidding. How the kids?
They're good.
How you doing? How the kids, little Juju?
Much better. Much better. If you don't stop calling me little Juju.
We're not gonna stop calling you little. Mary Jo said our little Juju. That's what she said. Because I went back and I watched the tape. She said our little Juju. Right, John?
Correct.
Okay, good. So, okay, our little Juju. So, how are our kids? How are they doing?
Better. I can definitely say that.
You know, John. Dr. Bryant and I were talking about something today earlier, and I don't know if but there's something called. So they were talking about the stomach flu.
Oh, I had that. What, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. So they're saying so now the COVID numbers are going down. But people who are getting stomach flu now, it's now going up, right?
It was horrible, man. It was an attack on my digestive tract. I was laid up in bed for a couple of days, out cold.
Yeah, yeah. That's what they're telling me. Say it's very toxic, and it's it can affect. Well, we know, like I was telling somebody earlier, that mortality is the ultimate. Your death is the ultimate for any illness, right?
Of course.
But when you're talking about when you leave that out and you look at other things, um, that I heard is debilitating and can lead to other physical complications. So, ladies and gentlemen, so what are some of the signs that you had so people need to look out for it?
Well, I mean, the signs that I had were diarrhea, uh, other signs, or I didn't have a temperature.
I just want to know, why the hell do you start with diarrhea? That's the first thing.
Hey, you asked what the symptoms are.
Yeah, right.
You asked what the symptoms are.
I know, but you started with that.
Yeah.
Let me lead with diarrhea, so it can't go any better from there, right?
Can't go any better.
Wow.
So, were you vomiting?
No, I was not. I was not regurgitating.
Oh, look at that! Big words today. I'm telling you, boy.
Mhm.
Regurgitating, diarrhea.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
I
glad you
think
used the word diarrhea.
But I had no fever, which was good.
Uh-huh.
Because the nurse thought it might have been signs of.
Hold on. So we're gonna tell John to pull the mic closer to him.
COVID.
There you go.
Don't
All
get
right.
too happy, Roger. All right. So,
All right.
I mean, those were the signs basically. But I think there were a lot of people had a lot of other symptoms. They were either, throwing up or, had temperatures, but I didn't have any of that. I made sure I drank a lot of fluids, so I didn't get dehydrated. But man, I felt like the Revenge of Montezuma, man.
And you didn't go to
Nah,
Mexico.
let me tell you something. I didn't go to Mexico. It was from the bed to the bathroom. Bed to the bathroom.
What you had a family member, doc, who had it. What was his symptom?
His symptoms: he was throwing up, he threw up blood, he had fever one day, and when you take the COVID exam, it came out negative. So it wasn't COVID. Definitely it wasn't COVID, but the throwing up was the biggest problem on that end.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen out there. Oh, before I even continue, just remind everyone, today is, what is it, freestyle?
Today's Freestyle Thursday. Listeners, call in topic. We're going to handle all different sorts of
Look.
madre of topics today on this show. Everything from the late state budgets to Mr. Daly's color coordination with his jacket, things like that.
And Mr. Eddie Gentile said he had the same thing 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Ah,
definitely, Eddie. I was miserable. Eddie, I was with you, boy. I was miserable for 3 whole days. It took me about a week to get back to myself, but I'm very timid in what I eat right now.
Yeah.
wait, I'm noticing a trend. Many of the people who actually contracted this were more males. I haven't heard of any females who contracted the
No,
stomach.
there's a the colleague of mine. She had it.
Okay.
She was sick for a couple of days. It was a Friday and it lasted until Sunday.
Yeah. So like Eddie said, he had 3. Hey, Eddie. John, do you remember Eddie from My 11? I don't know if you remember Mr. Gentile. I don't remember. We were talking today, and I wasn't sure whether or not.
No,
He
I
was-
don't remember.
Yeah,
Eddie,
'cause
like I
he-
don't remember you for my 11.
Well, you wouldn't remember me, right? If
I
you
know.
remember me from My 11, something's wrong with me.
Exactly. Something
Right.
wrong with me. I've stayed
Hey.
with Steve too long.
Yeah,
Okay.
something wrong with either one of us, but yeah. So it's definitely problematic. Hello, all of our. Hola, mi amiga, ¿cómo estás? Hace un poco, no hace un rato, ¿no? Me gustaría hablar contigo, pero no sé lo que está pasando. Dímelo, ¿no? Right?
All right. I want to go back to that.
Wait. I need for you to wait. I think this is a good idea.
Okay.
Why don't you say hello in Creole to our audience that might be speaking a little Creole?
Bonne nuit.
That's it. Yo, you are like one dry. Yo, we need to say something. That bon nuit, good night. Really?
Passe, everyone.
Okay, thank you. At least that's
Bonne nuit.
better. That's it. Anyways, I'm torn,
From
right?
3 days to 8 days, 3
Mhm.
days to over a week. So this thing, the stomach flu. So minimum, I guess, is 3 days.
Minimum is 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Some people who had it really bad is over a week.
Yeah, I was out
Yeah.
three,
Yeah.
couple of days.
Over a week.
I was out. Yeah, I was down and out. I didn't smoke no weed, so I was doing all right.
And what about your allowance? You know what's funny
I know
to me?
that get Doc going.
No, dang,
I ain't smoked weed
Doc-
in a long time.
Doc utters a word other than I'm not going there, if she utters a word other than that, I'd be shocked.
Hey Danny, how you doing, Danny?
Right.
Thanks for listening in, my brother.
Right. Right. So if like I said, if she said anything more than that, I'd be shocked. Right, Doc? She didn't even take the bait.
No, Doc's not gonna take that bait. Peace, my brother Danny. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Right.
But you know what? But
yeah, let's go to the big news of the day. Let's
start
with that.
You know
let's
what? The big news of today is in the 116th jurist of the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Is a woman, a black woman of color.
Was she the fourth or the fifth woman? Sandra Day
O'Connor. No, she is
Ginsburg.
I think
Sotomayor.
She's the fifth.
And Barbie. And now she's the fifth.
Did you call her Barbie?
Well, I don't know. Barbie.
Who's Barbie?
Lorena Bobbitt. Yeah.
No. Come on, let's don't disrespect. No disrespect.
Right. What's her name? I'm serious. What's her, I can't remember her name, to be very honest with you. You know what? That's disrespectful because I did get mad at Joe when she said she didn't.
But you what's her name? Barrett.
That's it. That's it.
One thing I can say about Barrett, if you look at some of these decisions that came down, especially those dealing with criminal justice, she is very interesting in her decisions. Everybody thinks she's conservative, but it's been very eye-opening watching the decisions that she's taken part in with respect to dealing with criminal justice. A couple of decisions. So pay attention. So just because a person may be from a party does not. Hey, what's up, Brandon? It's good seeing you, brother. Thank you, man. Everything's all right, Brandon. You and the family. I hope they're well. And thanks for listening in on the Village. You could call and give us some topics. But getting back to this is a milestone. This is history. This is amazing. You know.
Hey, Richard, what's going on?
In the history of the Supreme Court, the first black woman. Now we have 2 black Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court. First time ever in history. I'm not going to say anything about Clarence Thomas because he is.
Oh yeah, because Clarence took over for Thurgood Marshall.
He too is a justice. I may not agree with his politics, but I give him deference and the respect that he deserves. But he's full of shit too, But
John,
I'm talking about that. I'm sorry.
No, we're gonna have to censor John. Yeah, we're gonna have to censor him. You know what I liked about the fact, though it was barely, right?
Oh, the three Republicans.
Yeah, it was bipartisan. So now they can, and you know what's going to be funny to me?
What?
All of the Republicans are gonna take credit for bipartisanship. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna take credit for bipartisanship.
But you know
when they really, and Republicans do that all the time, right? That's why politics. When they say the politics make the strange bedfellows,
right.
Because even with like the COVID relief money,
right,
all the Republicans and their Republican state ate that up, and then they didn't want the money, they voted against it, and then they ate up the money.
But
they're going to lay claim to this.
We know it's pure politics. They're all hypocrites. Lindsey Graham is the biggest hypocrite,
and that pissed me off. That pissed me off.
The biggest hypocrite alive.
Yes.
I have no respect for Lindsey Graham.
None.
Zero.
Any I had for him.
His word means absolutely nothing.
But you know what?
He's just purely political. His decisions are based upon what is the flavor of the day. He has no principle. He's just a person who operates on preference.
He's a jerk. Call it like it is.
No principle whatsoever.
And
he's a piece of crap, but I can't say it on.
Yeah, but you're allowed to say that he's a
That's
piece of
what
crap.
He is.
You're allowed to say that he's a piece of crap. He's a crap.
Piece of shit.
Because, dude.
I'm sorry.
Right? Yo, we're gonna have to learn to censor. Yo, Andre, we're gonna have to learn to start beefing John. After all of those things that he spoke about, right? After all of those,
Turn the heat down, man. Why you got the heat up in here, man?
Right. Right. So with all of the different accolades, the conversations, that he had.
Mhm.
Mm.
And he was hyping her up. That's why when we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, I said everything that's happening doesn't matter until the vote.
Of course.
And now you see the bigotry. At least I give Democrats this, and I give the rest of the Republicans this. They said no, and they voted no. The Democrats said yes, and they voted yes. And Democrats, from the onset, didn't give any great speeches about any of the other recent, what's his name, of the former president. They didn't give any great speeches about how they blah blah blah, how great and qualified they were. They said whatever that they were not going to support, and some of them actually changed and voted yes.
Except for that piece of crap, Tom Cotton, senator from Arkansas. His reference to that she would have defended the Nazis at the Nuremberg trials was atrocious when he himself, a Harvard graduate, this is what happens, how manipulative and how devious an individual is. And this guy even has the thought, the audacity to even thinking about running for president of the United States. You know, this is where they show who he has shown who he is, ladies and gentlemen, and please believe Tom Cotton. For him to even make that reference, a person who went to Harvard, a person who is a lawyer. So the Republicans are so concerned about being they believe that everything is fundamentally based upon the Constitution. And that Constitution, everybody has a right to an attorney, has a right to defend themselves. As a public advocate, she didn't pick and choose these cases. She was given these cases. And these other cases that when she was in a private law firm, that they were pro bono cases given to law firms, and she was instructed to work on them because she knew about them. Tom Cotton, who's a lawyer, understands that. But for him to have the audacity to make the reference that this woman would have represented Nazis at Nuremberg trial, that was such a choice that was just beyond reproach. And it just shows you he's the type of person, ladies and gentlemen, on the Village, he will smile in your face. And when he's around his friends, he'll call you a nigger.
You know, I think I'm gonna let that word get away today, because that is actually the appropriate use of that word. And that's why I hate when Black people use that word with each other. That's why I hate it, because that is
what's up, my nigga?
Yeah, I said once, right? But the reality of the situation is, in front of your face, they say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it comes, I go back. That's why it's important for us to look at how they were going to vote. Because that is the embodiment of their ideology. Because there was honestly nothing wrong with this woman.
No.
Right? She's
more
than qualified.
Credentialized than those who are on the Supreme Court today.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm not going to go that far, but I'm going to say what I am going to say. Well, based upon what we saw a couple of weeks ago.
But they mentioned that. They mentioned that. They
Right.
all said she's very qualified, but no. You know, she's awesome, but no. You know, all the positive. Oh, you know, she seemed very knowledgeable, but no. So why is the but no?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I taught my students, when anything you say and you use the word but, it negated everything that you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you are a great man, but you're a great woman, but you're great this, but that means you're not great.
It's like all due
It's as though they're a puppet. They're a puppet.
But it's not even about being a puppet, though, because it's you have your own vote. And Lindsey Graham, right? Tom Cotton, right? Tim Scott have nothing to lose by voting yes.
Proving a point.
What's the point?
The
And,
point is,
and
Oh,
that,
by the way, yeah, Ingrid, I agree with you. Daily, you're right. Lindsey Graham is the biggest hypocrite.
hold on. I meant the whatchamacallit from South Carolina voted no to
He voted no. Tom Scott, yeah.
Tim Scott.
Tim Scott, yeah. He voted no.
He's a piece of
yes,
shit.
Hey, John! I'm making you scream on the mic, man. Stop it.
Sid,
I told you we're on Gospel J.
I don't.
No,
Maybe
no,
they
no,
all
but
had a conversation prior that they want Trump back so badly that they all voted no, whatever. But for his candidate, they were yes, 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 yes. Let's pass it within 3 days. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Totally.
again, but my argument there, and my mother brought this up with me today,
that
and people, I'm going to bring it up
again.
again, right? People are not as we are. The majority of blacks are Democrats, majority, not all, right? So if you look at it, at the onset, you vote on party lines, but when when you're speaking, like, right, you could see justification for why with Barrett they voted on party line because it was rushed. Obama, they didn't want to push it through, but now with Trump, he's done. They're gonna push it through, right? Because it got pushed through right before the election. Whereas the Republicans' own words were, "We don't know what the next president is going to look like, and we can't allow that to happen." And 4 years later, the same thing happened, right? The same identical thing happened, and that allowed. However, the truth of the matter is that both parties they go along party line, but it's the vote that counts.
You know, Roger, it's the vote that counts, but you know, it's the hypocrisy that exists in the politics. That's why people really have no respect for elected officials, because they really have no backbone. They have no principle. They do wherever the wind blows, that's where they blow. As a result, what's interesting about Republicans, villages, is that their goal is to have power by any means necessary, because they know with respect to that power legislatively, they can adopt policies that are instrumental in prolonging their Republican ideologies, which is built upon establishing a solid corporate business, pro-business, less regulations, because that all benefits the constituencies that contribute to them, that allows them to stay into office. And they understand how important it is for them to be in those positions to create such legislative laws that really benefit their ideologies. However, the Democrats, they have an ideology, but they are more concerned about optics, the perception of what people think, instead of understanding how important it is to work together and pass laws that can exist and help those into perpetuity. So the Democrats, they are not cohesive. They're like crabs in a barrel. They will destroy one another to get where they to where they have to. They will destroy one another to get to where they want to go. And they will eat their own. Unlike Republicans, the Republicans will stay cohesive in one group because they understand that as long as we stay together, we stay in majority, we stay in positions of power that can create a legislative agenda. The Democrats are not concerned about a legislative agenda. They're concerned about their ideology, and the best.
I'm hearing you.
But the best thing is, this is Democrats for you. They say, Black Lives Matter. They say, what are you doing to the homeless is crazy. You know, you shouldn't be messing with their encampments, taking them off the streets. But the minute you go to Park Slope,
And
or
put
you
a put a
go,
homeless
or
shelter
you
there.
go down Brooklyn and say, you know what, I'm going to put a homeless shelter there, or I'm going to put a halfway house there, or I'm going to put a detention center there. Oh Lord, we can't have those people in our communities.
Wait. John, I sit on the community board,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not just Park Slope.
Mm-hmm. It's our own communities too.
It's our own communities.
Our own communities.
Our
yes.
own communities disallow. It's okay to have it
as long as it's not.
As long as it's not in my neighborhood.
In my neighborhood, in
right?
my backyard.
Oh, and then like some of the things that they bring up. Oh, they're gonna cause crime. Cause crime where? How does a detention home cause crime in your neighborhood? Right? It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that why Democrats can flip back and forth.
They have no backbone.
No, that's not why.
You tell me why. Bro.
They don't lose seat. They very rarely get voted out. Because when they're entrenched in a community, they very rarely get voted out. Like people just, it's like, it's at the primary, right? At the primary in a Democratic neighborhood, a Republican will never win.
Right.
So I could say anything that I want, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be reelected anyway.
Right.
So
but that's why Democratic primaries are so important, ladies and
but
gentlemen.
they're not important.
They are important because you get other people to run against those Democrats who are not doing nothing.
But in all fairness, even if they're not doing anything, they still get elected. I know a few.
You can't say that. You go different.
Then we have a new person that just came on, so you can't say
Brian.
that. Yeah.
No, but Brian didn't come on because he didn't run against an incumbent. Right. Brian ran for an open seat.
He ran for an open seat, but what's interesting now is that there's a stay. A judge in upstate canceled out the legislative lines.
Right.
So saying that go back to the drawing boards because the Democratic basically drew these lines in their favor. Total disregard for the Republicans, but I don't blame the Democrats because I would have done the same thing because the Republicans have been doing that for decades.
So
I would have done the same thing.
And that judge probably is Republican.
Them.
Yeah, but that's what they did in Congress to get rid of. Remember what's that guy's name who got in trouble? And Weiner.
Mm-hmm.
Remember they got rid of his Democrat. They got rid of a Democratic seat, and they plan to get rid of another Democratic seat.
Right.
In the new Congress, they're going to get rid of it. They're going to draw new lines and get rid of the Democratic seat in Congress now because we lost based on the new census that they're going to get rid of that too.
Yeah, but it's a constant back and forth with us, but we definitely have to just congratulate on our new judge. Oh, Brandon, it's unfortunate. Comment by Brandon Bloomfield, smart guy, y'all.
Yeah, he's
smart guy. Brilliant. It's unfortunate.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Was he before you read the comment? I want to don't say that comment and think it's going to pass me. Is he a smart guy because he worked for you, or a smart guy because of his level of intelligence? Don't say both. I want to hear which one.
Both.
Yeah. Joanne answer. Yeah, he's
right.
He's actually a brilliant
kid. We
very
rule by
brilliant
party lines instead of by doing what's best for the people. And that's true. And we're the ones supposed to be representing the people. We're not representing the people. We're representing ourselves. That's why, people talk about term limits. And the more and more that Washington, D.C. behaves the way they are, the more and more that movement of term limits will pick up speed.
What I find interesting, John, that and I think it's kind of like the reverse of things that are happening, right?
What's that?
You have the majority of the Republican senators are men, right? Majority of them, and only one man of all of the Republican senators Mitt Romney,
Mhm.
who Mitt Romney is the Manchin of the Republican Party.
No, he's not. He's not. Mitt Romney will not. He will not. If in the majority, if they were in a 50-50 position like that, Mitt Romney would not hold up everything the way Joe Manchin holds it up. Not at all. Mitt Romney, he will. He's a party person. He understands what it is. He will only go but so far.
Yeah, but current U.S. Senate has 24 women. I'm trying to see how many women are Republicans. So you have 24. I'm trying to figure out how many women. There are 24 women in the U.S. Senate right now, and historically, so okay, so 8 are Republicans. So of the 8 women, 2 of them that broke rank. So 25% of the women broke rank. So of the 50 senators, 42 of them are men, and 1 broke rank, right?
Two
And
of
the
them.
two women, 20, so 25% of the women broke rank, and only and the remaining 75% remain true loyal to party, right? And so that it's kind of interesting, right? So historically, 4.4% of the 1,314 seats in the United States. So there have only been 58 women senators, you know, and currently 24%. So it's over, the significant number above the historical average. But to find out that of the 8 Republican women, 6 of them didn't break rank. It's kind of interesting. And there's only 1 black senator on the Republican side, so 100% of them didn't break rank with the party to support a qualified, a super qualified candidate. But so that's very true because it happened, right? Yeah, in terms of politics,
And
absolutely.
and this is and this is the example. Everybody talks about trying to get rid of affirmative action. This is the perfect example why you need affirmative action. Although in this instance, but it just shows you the mindset of people who have a different ideology, and just because of their ideology, they can't look past their ideology and
Mhm.
judge a person. Like Martin said, judge me not on the color of my skin, but the content of my
Correct.
character.
Yep.
The Republicans who voted against this woman did not judge her based upon the content of her character.
Absolutely.
They voted on the color of her skin and the party line.
Party line.
But you know what? We're doing a very bad job right now, John, and we should be ashamed of ourselves. Meaning that we're so focused on the negative component, the racism in America, that we're not even focusing
I
on
mean, you did a bad job, not me.
no, on the positive,
You know what I'm saying? I
right?
don't know what you're talking about, brother.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
So in the positive, we're so proud of Ketanji. Hopefully, I can have
That's
a
what
problem.
that's what I was saying, man. Proud is
Yeah, proud of
that's history, brother.
that she has carried herself and proven in life to get to this level.
She carried herself like a strong black woman, like the black women are.
Like many of these bigots aren't.
She stood up there. She took the blows.
Some of these same people voted no.
But you know what? I'm not gonna curse. She said, okay. She said, I'm a Supreme Court justice now. I was gonna say something else.
Yeah. And there's nothing and you know what's interesting? It's for
Lifetime.
her. Huh?
Lifetime appointment.
It's
Is
for
not
her to lose.
I'm gonna say it anyway, man.
Don't let me punch in your chest.
Anyway.
lifetime appointment. Oh my
Right.
goodness.
It is permanent. And
Yeah.
it's for her to lose. Not
She
for anybody to take
It
away.
ain't gonna about losing.
She ain't
Yeah,
losing nothing.
but you know what?
That's
Yes,
true.
she did, Monet. She kept a smile on her face.
She
She
kept
did.
That's
Hey,
not
Big
even
Mo, what's up, Big Mo?
Yeah,
Yes, she did. She
yeah,
kept a smile on her
yeah. You know
face.
what's ironic?
What's ironic?
Susan Collins. She was tested positive for COVID after the vote.
Susan Collins, really?
Yeah, the one that voted yes. I'm glad.
But guess what?
I'm
We
glad
got
she
Nancy
didn't.
Pelosi too
it, and then we could go and relax.
tested positive. Yep. Nancy Pelosi tested positive
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Isn't
They're
Hakeem
all,
Jeffries his deputy speaker?
No, he is the
I think who's this? I think he is.
no, he's the major. No, I don't know.
I think he's the deputy speaker.
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe he is. Straight out of Brooklyn. He actually went to school with my wife. So let's talk about what's going on in from good to bad. Let's go immediately to the worst. Oh, let's not talk about that yet. You know, something I'm disappointed about.
what's that?
I was reading some numbers where I was having a conversation within a group with one of my domino group, and we're talking about and John and I we talk about this all the time, and people. No, it was not a domino group. It was wrong group. I was in a group for the mayor, right? So I'm in one of those groups, and we're talking. One of the persons on the group was talking about the murder rate and talking about the systemic racism that causes a lot of these murders, right? And that there are no guns in the black community. They
What?
come in. I agree with all of that. There were 17,000 plus murders in the United States last year or the year before, whatever the numbers are. Of the 17,000 plus murders that happen in the United States, two things that happen. One, black people committed more than 70% of those murders that happen. That's the first issue. Go look it up. Look up the murder rate and the homicide rate. We're not seven. I'm sorry, 60% of our deaths. We were killed more than 50% of everybody who died. We were killing ourselves. When you say ourselves, I mean, each other. And of the 17,000 deaths, the other thing that struck me was that men are killing each other. So of the 17,000, close to 14,000 deaths were men. So if you're single, to make light of the situation, black men, I just tell you, you stay out of trouble. There are more black women because they're killing each other. I mean, I'm just making light of the situation. I shouldn't do that. But the fact of the matter is, you can't continue to tell me that it's systemic racism that's making you kill. And I saw something else today, John. I saw two black kids. School is to the right, and they were walking to the left. And so you're going to tell me what? That it's the system fault why you're not going to school? The system fault comes in when you're qualified for a position and you don't get it. That's systemic racism. It's not systemic racism if you're not qualified. You can't want to be a lawyer and you don't have lawyer qualification and go, oh, it's racism why I can't be a lawyer. No, it's not. If you have the grades to go to medical school and you don't get in, racism. You have the grades and the notes to get into law school, you don't get in, racism. Right. But if you don't have the qualifications to do something, it's not racism. Right? Okay. So at the end of the day, I want people to start using right terminologies and stop using falsehood to try to say what it is that you want to say. We are killing each other at an astronomical rate compared to any other race.
Why is that, brother? Think about it. Why is that?
The why is important.
The why is extremely important.
But the end result is just as important. So how do we
Let's
solve
get to the why.
Why are you so quiet over there, Doc?
Let's get to the why.
Let's get to the why. What do you think the whys are? Let's hear it, audience. What do you think the why? Doc, let's start with you. Why do you think the why? No. Oh, Andre, I forgot to tell you. When you giving your input, right, you got to use the mic because then we can hear you in the background, right? No, I'm just saying that because like when I'm reviewing the tape, we hear him and then we asking why. But start with you, Doc. Why do you think the why is?
I think the why is that we are and have been in a slave mentality for a long
What does
time.
that mean when people say that? You're in a slave mentality. What does that mean?
Let me explain. When I say slave mentality, you know how we go back to you know, and we tie it back to I'm gonna tie it back to the Bible, where God finally let the slave group out for freedom, and they finally get their freedom, but they like to be held in captivity, which is the sad part about it. um Even though you receive your freedom and you're able to do some things, yes, you're gonna get blockage. Everything's not gonna be perfect overnight, but you're rather be captured. Oh, I'm so used to this way, I'm so used to that way, that going backwards look better than going forward. So that's the sad thing about it, that we can't look beyond making move the quick way. Hey, selling drugs will get me money faster, so I don't need to go and study. I don't need to go and do this. I just want quick, easy access to things. So no, working hard, I could just rob this person and I'll have what I want. So instant gratification is one. Just not looking further or having dreams and desire to do better than whatever stage that you're in. I hate when people say, hey, I didn't have this advantage, I didn't have that advantage, but the same another group of individual didn't have certain advantages, and they made a way out of no way. They stayed up, they studied, they worked 2 3 jobs, and later on they created their own. So it
So,
all has to do
let's take that question,
with.
right, and go back because the why, John. Before you get to that, John, what is your why? And I want to come back to the same comments. Don't let me forget it, right? But let's hear what John why is, and then we go back to you, right? Why do you think the why?
The why is important. The why is important because it goes back to history and our historical perspective of who we are. And
so you're saying historically we've been killers,
who we come from,
and murderers?
It's no, brother. This is very important.
I'm asking you a question.
No, this is very important. It's traumatic events in our lives that truly shaped our mindset and our behavior. Things that we were subjected to that created this sense of hopelessness within our people.
Hello.
And those who have taken it
1
to
second,
the
caller.
extreme. But I want to hear from the caller. Caller.
Caller, you live.
Hi, how are you doing? I really don't call the radio much.
I can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Who's this?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
No, I really don't like to call.
Who's calling?
But my name is Judy. I don't call much, but I have to say something about this topic. I think the why is hostility. Why are we so hostile to each other? That's the why. That's what it is.
But I think let's
let's
divulge into that more, right? The question is the root of the why of the hostility.
But
Yeah.
you said
Let her finish.
hostile. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Joey.
Yeah, I just don't know why are we so hostile to each other.
Because we have learned
Instead
to
of trying to
hate.
help you.
We've learned to be jealous, envious of one another,
Yeah.
instead of collectively congratulating, bringing them in, holding them tight. Because we have been taught that it's competitive, going back even from slavery, from the dark-skinned slaves to the light-skinned slaves, to competitive
The house nigger, field
from the
nigger.
house versus the field for the field slave. These are things that have been embedded into us and we have taken it to extreme. Instead of loving ourselves, we learn to be hostile to one another.
So,
And this
Judy,
is the trauma that has been created
Yeah.
because the way we have been treated, that created a mindset of division between us instead of creating a mindset of cohesiveness and love. But go ahead, Judy.
so
That's-
Judy,
that's
I want
the
to.
point.
I love the comment about the hostility, right? Because
Just like I'm hostile toward Daly, but I still love him.
because of my jacket, right? But no. But you bring up a very good. Why do you think we're so angry, though, Judy? Because when you talk about hostility, you're talking about anger. So the violence comes from the anger. So going deeper, why do you think we're so angry? Why?
I'm not really sure. A lot of people put it back to slavery, but I'm not really sure. It's just you see another black person. I don't know if it's intimidation. I don't know what it is. I have no idea, but it's just that's what it is, hostility. But I don't know what the cause is. I don't know.
So
I
I want to throw something in there for you, Judy, and tell me if you agree or disagree.
Okay.
The hostility comes a lot from three different angles in my purview. One, selfishness. I don't want you to have something.
Mhm.
Two, divisiveness. I believe that a lot of blacks have been taught or not taught, but they have been habituated into divide and conquer. I think that show with Denzel Washington where they took the big slave out, the most powerful slave, and beat him to death. Right? Have a play. And the third is fear. The fear that have been embedded in us. And I'm not going to say by the white slave owners, but the fear that's embedded in us by ourselves and others. Like when we look at another black man, we talk about white people across the street, black people across the street too. Right? So people always say that. I was talking to somebody and the person said, I don't want to go into that neighborhood. Right? And it's your own kind that's in the neighborhood. You get what I'm saying? So that's where I think. What do you think of that? Like about the derivative of the hostility? Oh, John, I'm sounding like you with all these words, man. Where do you think the hostility came from?
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, but I need to know how can we change it.
That's a good question.
No, this is the
It starts from being young, like young boys against each other, young girls against each other.
I think it starts with women.
Women?
I think it starts
Why?
with women. Because
Repeat yourself.
It starts with women.
Go back.
Rewind and come again.
It starts with women. No, you don't think so? I'm joking. No, but I'm joking serious, right? A lot of the violence that happened between men and men is over a woman.
That's not true. That's not true.
Oh wait, you could say okay. Wait. Hold on. Before you go there, you work in a school system.
Okay.
I work in a high school for 24 years, high school, middle school for 25 years.
Okay.
The majority of the fights that happen between two males is over a female. Period.
So that is
so it's not no. The man is still responsible.
Oh, please, Roger.
For his own action. Everybody's still responsible for your own action. But if you think about it, what did Will Smith do when he slapped what's his name? It wasn't he laughed at the joke.
Listen, that
is one
all right.
incident.
But I'm joking. A person
no.
A person is still responsible for their actions
and their foolishness. They're responsible for their foolishness. So you go back. Remember this.
Wait. Hold on. Let Judith finish first. Let Judith finish first.
Judy, go ahead, finish, Judy.
I'm finished.
After he says that,
I don't know what to say from that.
yeah. You know, he ridiculous. Please, Roderick.
Yeah. So what you were saying?
Foolishness.
Go ahead, Doc.
Foolishness. Oh, majority of the fight, majority of this, majority of that. Blame it on the women all the time. So, you know, when I bust you up in your mouth, you know, from a guy punching you right in your mouth, hey, saying, hey, you know what, I want to rob you or whatever. Is that a woman that did that? No.
No. That's
So
if you,
stop.
again, the question you can be you
No,
sometimes, like John says, what
no.
like
So when
I'm
that
gonna
man-
take John's word for it, right, and put it like this, right? People always love to argue with facts. You can't argue with facts.
Roger,
Hold on.
You're
Judith,
wrong.
please-
You're
Judith,
wrong.
thank you for calling.
wrong.
Thank you for calling.
You're wrong.
All right.
I'm gonna tell you you're wrong.
I'm calling you live.
Yes, thank you for answering. I
Who,
listened
first
to your
of all, who's
program,
calling?
Mrs. James.
Miss who?
I listened
Mrs.
to
Sims.
James.
Mrs. James.
Oh, Miss James. Go
I
ahead.
called- yeah.
Thank you for
I
calling in.
listened to the program. I remember what you said before about
Who's you? Me, John, or Joanne?
you.
Roderick. All right, go ahead.
Yeah,
You get
yeah. You said something that just popped up into my mind now, and I don't know if it will help in that situation, but I'll say it. You talk about sometimes kids come home and they tell you like somebody hit you. John hit me in school. You say you have to fight him back. You have to hit him back. Don't take it. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't know
yes,
if
yes.
elaborate
yes.
on that. And maybe I don't know if we train our children fight back to be this anger. I don't know. I just
Yeah,
it
that was
just
gonna
popped
be the
into my spirit.
Yes.
It just popped into me. I thought I would throw it out.
I appreciate
So,
that. The other thing
thank
that
you.
I'm going to say, the second
Uh-huh.
thing is territorial respect.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
definitely.
That's
Definitely.
right. You need to get. I can't walk away. You need to respect me.
Yeah.
Right. And then that little respect thing is what is it?
Okay.
It's not about the money. It's about the principle. No. Right. Sometimes you need to walk away. And
Thank you.
Yeah. I had a conversation with somebody. If you hit me, I need to hit you back. And that's the mentality that we were taught. You know
Thank you. That's why I drop it off to
Right.
that. I said that
Right.
might have a
You-
little.
You know what most economic people say? You touch me, I'm gonna call the cop. We say if you touch me, I need street justice. Right? So we end up right. We end up killing somebody. I know the situation factually. How many? Oh, I'm gonna do street justice. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt, and then I'm not even gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you and your family.
And then they bring friends with them. Too.
Yep.
And a whole gang in the world and the whole thing.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let's get real. Part of the why. The why is we have not been taught to, biblically speaking, turn the other cheek and move on.
It's not. Hold on. Not biblically.
No. I'm not saying that we haven't been taught biblically. I meant follow biblically is what I should have said.
You know what? It's as.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back and listen.
Thank you, Miss James. And thank you for calling the village. And thank you for being a listener.
Always listen.
Did you subscribe to our YouTube?
No, not yet. You're a long delay, right?
Yes, I heard you. Thank you.
All right. Take care. God bless.
Incorporate this in your response.
Okay, Rev HL. Okay, this is his comment. Okay, so when will we stop blaming slave mentality and start to take responsibility for one's actions today? You know what? It's not the point of nobody's blaming the slave mentality. It exists, and we have to recognize that does exist. It is trauma, and we have to understand what is the basis for that trauma. What is the mindset that has been adopted by our people, our children, to engage in such behavior that has the right to assault another individual? You know, what is it? What hatred or hostility we have? Where did this come from? And how did it manifest itself? How did it metastasize itself to come from your inner souls to be executed on another individual? It's the mindset that has been created over a period of time that we have been indoctrinated to. When you look at it, you look at society, violent sells. It's all about sex and violence. Those are the things because we as a people are voyeurs. We love to see those things as long as it's someone else and not us. We have to get to the point where acknowledge the problems and the issues that we have and take a step forward to resolving them and seeking the help that is needed. So I always thought to be able to sit down with someone and be able to articulate my own feelings and behaviors so I can better understand why I do the things that I do. And it goes back into our mindset. And that mindset evolves from the times in which we were shackled. It goes back to biblical times, the way we look at ourselves and manifested through our growth throughout those decades, throughout those centuries. And right now, we do not love ourselves. These young people have total disregard for human life.
Mm-hmm.
They will take a human life and not think about it until villagers, when they're sitting in a jail cell for 20, 30, 40 years, and they go back and say, damn,
What did I do?
what did I do?
I want to go back, John, to Joanne, because you were saying something further in the why, right? You were talking about further in the why, and you're talking about enslavement. And one of the comments on the air, right, is did mention when are we going to stop blaming the slave mentality, right? But it's a real issue, right? It is a real issue, a real
You're right,
mindset.
Mo, we're too busy pointing fingers.
But I want to go back to you, Doc, because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, it's not even just the slave mentality, but is passing along, right? Is passing along the hostility, like I said earlier, turning the other cheek. And you were talking about that.
We're broken individuals. After, like, I'm gonna jump and connect with John in regards to that. After a while, when you've been beat up so many times, when you've been treated a certain way, even this confirmation is it's a win, but it's also a loss. The reason why is it shows, like we mentioned earlier, it shows that in spite of everything that this woman accomplished, in spite of, reaching the top level and being the best of the best, it still does not matter. It's
Still,
a fight.
they do not judge us.
Yeah, it's a fight.
Content of our character.
It's a constant fight to prove. Even when you've proven yourself, that after a while you just give up. That you're like, what's the sense of doing it?
But
And
but
people
futility, but futility
they
is not going to
lose
change it,
hope.
though, Joe.
I know, but listen, a lot of people lose hope, and
So what do you?
being
Okay, so
broken-
that's still kind of like the comment that Mike brought up, right? Right.
Okay.
Mike was in the chat. It's still part of the comment. I'm in this rut, and I'm going to stay in this rut because
Right.
that's the rut I was taught.
But
At
also,
which point do we
Roger,
start listening?
who do you
At which
surround
point do we
yourself
tell
with?
that kid
Who-
you're just perpetuating the cycle of poverty by going left because you're supposed to go to school and it's 9:30 in the morning and you're walking to the right.
Okay, let me give you an
And then
example.
you stop saying you're not qualified to do a job because you ain't got no education. And it's not
Roger.
because you were not afforded an education, it's because you did not accept
It
and
is
receive one.
so much bigger than just that. It is so much bigger than that. So here it is. Let's use a child as an example. Hey, we have a 7-year-old child who witnessed their stepdad getting murdered, who witnessed their father going to jail, who is reading below level, and anger, full of anger. Now you go in and you can't succeed at what it is that you're expected to do. You're gonna start acting up. You're gonna act like a fool. But then you take it out on everyone. The hope is your mama is so disconnected Your dad's in jail. Your stepdad, who was there, get murdered, and you witnessed this. So that hope, that next step, that child needs so much more than just, hey, when are you going to get yourself out of that rut? Who is surrounding this child to bring them out of that dysfunction? That is the key. What next step? And it's not the school, because the thing is, but so much the school couldn't handle, because you have trauma, like John was saying. You have going back home, and my mama's dealing with her own issue. You got, hey, I got an anger problem. You got, hey, I'm not succeeding. So it's not passing the buck. It is much deeper than that. And that's the reality. And now you add a pandemic, any little thing is setting people off. Already that hope that child would have had is gone because of their early stages to trauma. So what do? How do you get this child not to become a part of the cycle that they are in fact a part of?
And that hope that individual once had turned into hopelessness.
Exactly.
And everybody talks about, I can understand we do have to move past certain things, HL, but at the same time we can't forget because history always has a way of repeating itself
Mm-hmm.
to other individuals. And those when you see those signs, we need to recognize that and understand that. But it is the the hopelessness, the dreariness that exists, the cloud that constantly that is over us, the lack of sunlight that we able. It's what it's really it's deep. It's deep
Mm-hmm.
into your core. It's deep into your soul. Of how do you look at yourself? How do you feel about yourself? We're in your community, and I really believe this. Just because you may be born in poverty doesn't
You have
mean you
to
have
end
to
up.
end up in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
But they lack that strong sense of
Foundation.
character, sense
Mm-hmm.
of identity, self of self, which has been robbed from them
Mm-hmm.
because of the constant drum beats of you're not somebody, you're not nobody.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I my daughters went to Avenue B Christian Academy, and Miss Rita always said, she always did, their motto was to come, we are somebody.
Yeah.
We are a child of the King.
The
We
most
are somebody.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we don't think we're nobody. We don't belong to nobody. Who are going to take care of ourselves? It's like survival of the fittest. And this is the issue that really impacts our community is we do not embrace,
Mm-hmm.
we do not embrace one another. We don't embrace who we are. We don't come to the aid of
We
one
don't
another.
love
We do
ourselves.
not only do we not love ourselves, but you need to love your brother and sister. And we do not love. Truly, we are envious of our brothers and sisters. We are jealous.
Why
of
should
our
they
brothers
have it and I don't?
Why should they have it? And therefore, I'm going to take
Yep.
what you have because you shouldn't have it. Who the hell are you to tell
Yeah.
me that you are going to take what I have, that I worked hard for it? I worked hard for it. I put my time and created this opportunity. It was not given to me.
Thank
I
you.
put the time
I
in.
earned it.
I earned
Yes.
it. And
I,
it's not.
I want to share a mentality of my high school. And this, I believe, is one of the problems with our New York City schools.
Mhm.
Mm.
And I can say anything I want because I'm no longer working for the system.
Mm.
When I went to high school, I went to Amherst High School in Massachusetts, one of the better schools in the country.
Mhm.
The philosophy of Amherst High School wasn't graduating from high school. When I went to Haverford College, it wasn't about graduating from Haverford, right?
Laughing.
That mentality didn't exist.
Mm.
The mentality was the reason why, because I'm going back to something that Joanne said. The school's mentality was, what is your next step? Not next year, not next month, but what is your next year? So the moment I got to Amherst Regional High School, it wasn't about graduating. It was about what was I going to do after I graduated.
Mm.
And New York City schools teach our children to go from one step to the next step. So what are you doing this month? So now I need to make sure that you're able to pass the state test come what's happening right now. It's not to make sure that your grade point average is good enough to get you to medical school or get you to law school or become an engineer or become an RN, right? You don't have our children think it's further. So I want to go back to something else, Joanne.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health, your
Mhm.
favorite topic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the school system need to ensure that in every child's schedule, whether it's group or individual
Mm-hmm.
counseling, whether it's group or individual, just like you believe that education ELA is important, math is important. What happened to the mental? Because you're right. You're absolutely correct. So the question was, I agree. What are the next steps? Step one, ensure that all children have access to counseling,
But
whether
wait,
it's group
stop
or
you.
individual.
I'm gonna stop you there. Not
But
only children, the people that you have working there as well
what do
has
you
to
mean?
be mentally strong as well.
Oh, you mean like the counselors? So
Not
counseling for
counselors,
counselors.
not counselors. You have educators who are also not mentally well. So making sure that you check in, people talk a lot of fluff. Oh yeah, social emotional, blah blah blah, social emotional, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. But when you're under pressure, unfortunately, you see the real side of people. People show you,
Yeah,
they tell you
they
everything.
crumble. They
Right.
crumble under pressure.
But the problem is pressure shouldn't allow you to break down individuals. We're so used to
Professional versus
attacking.
personal. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we're so used to attacking people that we don't understand that after what we just went through, you have to be super sensitive because you don't know where people are at.
The-
You
the-
know,
the-
Well, you
just
know,
because they're
hold
physically
on one
there
second.
doesn't mean that they're mentally there. The
Are mentally capable. Yeah.
exactly,
so
which is dangerous,
but
especially dealing with
that,
children.
that point that you're taking, and I
Mhm.
want to digress for 1 second. Check this out.
Mhm.
The night of the Grammys, the Oscars,
Mhm.
what Will Smith did to Chris Rock.
Mhm.
And that, if you look at it, is
With
the
Will Smith.
dichotomy
Mhm.
of what we're talking about,
Yep.
Mhm. Mhm.
of what we're talking about. The lack of respect that we have for one another that allowed us to thought it was okay to assault someone else because of a comment that they made in a joking manner. The question is, what was the trauma? What triggered
Mhm.
his actions?
Mhm.
You can't say it was triggered by what Chris Rock said.
Mhm.
It was triggered by all of the other
Pressures.
pressures that
Mhm.
evolved regarding his relationship with his wife,
Mhm.
regarding his, and this is the core root of, as you said, to be able to talk to someone to understand there's that there's that inner
Right.
spirit
Mm-hmm.
within us. It is with all of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's that spirit that is triggered that allows us to behave the way we behave.
Mm-hmm.
And what causes that? What triggers that? What
But
causes that? What triggers that?
I want to add on to that with
You can
his
add on anytime, Doc.
with his step that he took and assaulted Chris Rock. That 5 minutes, that whatever amount of time that he spent, we're in a culture that will cancel out any good thing that you have done prior to that out of moment experience, out of your mind experience, and reject you and try to block you and wipe you completely out. That I have a problem with.
But it. I would
There's
let's say this.
consequences, but there's also um there's a bigger picture beyond that.
I believe in suspension.
Yes,
I
but
believe in suspension, not annihilation. And I think also.
I believe in ass whooping.
Well,
Yeah, that's another thing.
yeah, that's a topic for another day, right? But when you really think about it, right? I think I want to really go back to what um I forgot who asked the comment. I think it was H. Or it
next
was
step,
Greg.
next step about the next step, is that it?
Yeah,
It was HL.
right. So one thing that I said is you need to put more counseling in school, and they need to start earlier. So therapy is important. Two,
Absolutely.
right? Two, I agree that you need to start educating our young people and start teaching them earning a career versus a job. So a lot of times our young, no matter what you do, there's some people, no matter what, black, white, Asian, Chinese, Japanese, tall, short, skinny, no matter what you do, they're going to be knuckleheads, right? So it don't matter, okay? But you need to start informing children that a lot of times you follow these dreams where you are the exception, not the rule. So, anybody can get into medical school. You're right. But if you don't have the qualifications, the probability exists that you won't get in. So you're not going to go to medical school because you had 12th grade grades. You get into medical school because you have shown the propensity to do the work from the onset. So we have to teach young people from the get-go what it requires to do something. So if you want, and I was talking to Mr. Gentile today, one of the things I said to him is they cut out certain things out of school. They cut out shop.
And that was awesome.
Right. Shop is awesome because that's how children get to learn to play with their hands and know that I like to create stuff. All of a sudden, you pigeonhole every kid into ELA math. It's important for them to learn how to read and write and understand money. You don't want no dummy to take away your money. You have to understand it. But
You
every
don't want
kid,
no dummy to take away your money.
right, right. And so you again, you go back to the cycle of poverty because you're not stepping away from the cycle of poverty. If I repeat what my parents have done, I am going to end up the same way. The higher probability exists that if I don't go to school, which is what my parents tell me to do every day, and I don't go, I'm going to end up in the same predicament that you're trying to avoid me getting into. You can't get a job. You don't qualify. You become a blamer. Worried about respect, hostility, Judith's words, and the idea talk about the systemic racism that really doesn't exist for you.
Okay. In addition to that,
Then we have to move on to Ukraine.
in addition to that, making a connection. Like you said, ELA and math, children need to know how does that connect to real life. And that's where the disconnect comes in. hey, everything that you are learning is applicable to real life situation, and they can't seem to find that connection, and that's when we lose them.
One of the topics I talk about, and I, when I go out and I have speaking engagements, and especially when I'm talking to young people, I don't tell young people you go to school for no education. And a lot of times people get confused. You don't go to school for an education. That's not what you go to school for. School education is a byproduct of going to school. If you do what you need to do, you will get an education. But that's not why you're there. Right? You go to school.
Why are you there, Mr. Daly?
You go to school for validation of the education that you have. Period. Let me explain to you what I mean by that.
Please explain.
Please.
You could study every Regents book, and you take every Regents. Let's take trigonometry.
I love Trey.
Right? You took every practice test in the Barron's Review book, and you passed all of them with a 90. But you never went to school and took that trig. So therefore, you didn't take the algebra, but you know algebra. You didn't do geometry. You can't graduate from high school. So when you don't graduate from high school, they say, I need at minimum a high school diploma to apply for this job. You have no proof that you have a high school diploma because you went to school and you did not graduate.
Right.
Or you went to a certification program and you did not get the certification. You dropped out. You might know the work better than my mechanic, but my mechanic has the documentation of the work. So the number one reason why you go to school is to validate whatever it is that you have. I'm not going to go to a doctor.
So we say, what am I validating? Like what I have?
Whatever it is that you want. Right? Whether I am an assistant principal. I was an assistant principal, right? But I can't be an assistant principal if I didn't have the certification to say that I was an assistant. I might know the whole work because my principal gave me all the assignments in the world. I know Galaxy. I know budgeting. I know how to do programming. I know how to do observations. I know everything that goes along with AP on the principal, right? How to hire staff, all of that stuff. But guess what? Unless I have the documentation, I am no longer an AP. I am on the teacher line. Period.
So we go to school for documentation.
Yes, for validation.
Validation of the documentation.
Right? Okay.
We
so
can't be no
that's
dummies
so
to make our money.
right.
Now we go to school to be validated to get the documentation. So we are validated.
There you go.
Via the documentation.
There you go. So that's the number one thing that ladies and gentlemen, the most important thing that students have to learn, and you have to learn as parents, is why is a child going to school? Just don't tell them to go to school. Third, young people have to learn to volunteer. That's how you learn. Everything can't be about money. Everything can, even if you don't have it. Even if you don't have it, you have to learn to start volunteering so you learn experience about stuff. You want to become a doctor? Go volunteer at a hospital. Okay? You want to learn to be a lawyer? Go volunteer. Everything, because if you expect to get paid, you're not going to learn law. Because everything is not about that. Right? So at the end of the day, learn to volunteer. And stop telling your kids every time, go get a job. That's the worst thing you can tell a child. Go get a job. What does that mean? A job, right? A job means tell your children to get a career, not a job. The words that we use is important, right? I pray and hope that the best for my kids, that they're growing up and developing these critical times. Yeah, absolutely. Annette said something, Andre. Annette, we need to teach our children that the elevator will not take them to the top. Right. Your looks might get you through the door. Your popularity might get you through the door. But you know what? If you lack the ability and the documentation, guess what? You're going to get right back outside. And then you're going to blame people. It's somebody else's fault, but your own. Ukraine. What's going on over there, man?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's your fault, John. What's
Massive
going on?
graves.
You need to, I thought you, Andre, right? Let's check that out for me.
It's just amazing.
I thought you were friends with Putin, dog. Did you hear the Kremlin admitted? The Kremlin admitted that they're losing a lot of people from inside the Kremlin with this war. And again, I am personally gonna call it a war. I don't care what nobody tell me. It's gonna be called a war.
It is a war.
Oh, they call it invasion, man.
It's
No,
an
Andre,
invasion.
she's just at the door. Just
It is
open
a
it.
war,
You don't need
but,
that.
you know, it is a war.
Oh,
man.
in my book bag.
It's just heartbreaking, villagers, to see the atrocity that is being committed against the people in Ukraine because of one man's ego. There's no basis for war. It's just because of one individual's ego to become
It's in the car.
create the old Soviet Union. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, the bottom line. And that's something people will go to war for land, for territory.
You know, Mariupol is almost completely destroyed.
Yes.
Right. And one of the theory, thank you, Jennifer. And that's a very good point too. Volunteering is also open the opportunity for networking and, you know, and also getting recommendations and stuff like that. Because somebody, only Rudy, you need to stop. Only person who wants to be put in friend right now is Trump. I don't understand that, Tracy.
I think she was talking about Putin. That's what she was referring to.
Oh, so only person who wants to be friend with Putin is Trump. Okay, but John that's John's boy. He didn't tell you?
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with Donald.
Good evening.
Oh, hey, Mary Jo. We have little Juju. Kumbaya. Hey, Mary Jo. How you doing? Thank you for joining us last week. But it's just crazy. Like, I'm upset with a few things when you talk about that. You know, it's just I don't care. Like, people talk about how the United States didn't help out Africa, or the issue of the Jews and the Palestinians, and this and that and all those conversations don't matter, because at the end of the day,
these people
are getting killed left and right, and they're innocent
for no reason.
Is
the result of war.
Right. I'm not excusing what's happening in any other country. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm also saying, don't put them together.
Yeah,
because it almost sounds like you're justifying
right
the murder. It's like I don't know. John hates when I do this. But
innocent individuals, people sleeping.
The Holocaust was a monstrosity because they killed innocent people. Slavery was a monstrosity because you enslaved and you kill people. You're in Ukraine, and it's not about comparing anything to anything. It's taking the action for what it is. It is senseless. It is murder, and it has a long-term effect.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to hear nobody say compare this one thing. Oh, don't compare this to that. Right? If you kill somebody innocently, I don't care what country you're from. I don't care if you're Jew or Gentile. If you're rich or you're poor, or you're black or you're white, or vice versa. Once you're doing it, it is wrong. And I think that's what Putin is doing right now.
So do you think sanctioning his daughters and putting it out there? Actually, I think they showed pictures of his daughters or whatever. So
I don't know that sanctioning his daughter. What's the purpose of sanctioning his daughters unless they're directly affecting the war or his decision? What are they trying to say?
think that the money that he's funneling could be going back to family members. That's why they're
But
trying to,
sanctioning his daughter don't do anything.
well, not only his daughters, but trying to
what is that
block
word?
the
It's not
switch.
sanctioning. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Not sanctioning.
Not sanctioning. You're right.
No, sanctioning.
Blockage.
Yes, actually, it is the right word. It is the right word. I was thinking of a different word, but there's a different term when you I put a stop, put a hold. It's in the car. Right. So when I forgot the exact term. I'm looking for the term that one would use. I don't have the keys with me.
Okay, thank you.
Huh? The Benz. It's right in front.
Okay, back to
Right. Yes.
our discussion.
It's in the car.
Putting the pictures of his daughters on TV. I think definitely that's, first of all, people are angry, people are upset or whatever, but you're also, it's strange, very strange to me. Very, very strange.
As they say, you know what? Hit them in the pocket. Hit them in the pocket. Keep hitting them
What's
in
the
the
term
pocket.
when you do something with somebody's account when the bank holds your account?
Freeze
What is
their
it?
account.
Freeze. Right. That's the term.
Freeze their assets.
Yes. That's what I'm. That's it.
And
That's
you know
the
how when the
expression.
bank freezes your assets and you be mad? Like,
Yeah.
oh, what they took all our money? I don't have money. This is what happened to them billionaires. Their stuff is getting frozen and they can't live the way they used to be. That they can't live the way they used to live. So as a result, those are the people. That's what you. It's like what the feds do. The feds get people closer to you so they can squeeze in.
Yeah.
in,
So you
squeeze
get
in.
to start
So
talking.
eventually they start talking and becoming rats. The two-legged rats.
Oh my God, you and this rat.
No, you going back to this again?
Right, right. My God.
John, that sounds personal. All right.
It is personal.
Yeah. We
Two-legged
could.
rat.
Huh?
I don't want to talk about two-legged rats right now.
Okay. I feel you.
So wait, hold on. No, yo, villagers. Did you hear what this idiotic fool, this New Jersey mayor, these comments he made?
The racial comments.
Oh, the racial comments. And this guy is an elected official representing those. And this is what they do. They tell you one thing.
Republican. By the way, he's a Republican.
And
Just
he's a
thought I'd tell you.
Republican. He tells you he'll smile in your face. He'll come over to your house,
Backstabbers,
food.
backstabbers.
Yeah, you backstabbers.
Two-legged rats.
Two-legged freaking rats.
John, you gotten better.
And the comment he made was, and it just shows you there's no justice. We always get the raw end all the time. Look at the case where the young man was killed in the home as the police executed a no-knock warrant.
Yeah.
Wrong flipping location.
And they said no file, but they said no charges will be filed. Right. And so you have to ask yourself again, you look back and at the lack of justice.
Lack of justice. When we talk about justice, sometimes that's why people want to revert to street justice. Take justice in their own hands, but we can't do that, villagers.
Because again, let me say it one more time. When you do things like that, you continue to perpetuate the problem. So you have to start learning to make sacrifices. Somebody has to make a sacrifice. For
you can make a sacrifices. But
and I don't mean like becoming a martyr, by the way.
You in that position, like look at those young men whose mother, 61 years old, got shot coming home from work on 4. Got shot.
Or the 12-year-old boy.
In right here in Brooklyn.
Right
Yeah,
here.
you guys were on the air last week talking about
We didn't know. When it happened.
But in both cases, they seem to have suspects. They have a suspect. They have 2 people of interest in custody on both of those cases.
Really?
Kudos to the quick investigatory work of the New York City Police Department. Big up to the mayor
and the 67 precinct.
The commissioner, and also those people who are in charge in the 67 precinct. Big up to them. Big up.
That's great. That's great. You know what? My sister and I were discussing this week. Since he got in office, It's just been whoa. He hasn't gotten a break from week 1 to now. I wouldn't say people are losing their mind, but they're, like you mentioned, no regards for lives at all. And then seeing,
knocking some heads.
but no, here's the thing. Some of the people who are committing some of these, ghost guns and things like that, they're not only black folks. No, you got white doctors creating ghost guns, and kids
Can you explain to the audience what's a ghost gun?
A ghost gun is more like something that's untraceable. Some can be made from, what is that?
Parts that come in the mail, just parts.
Yeah, but also, what is that?
Caller, please hold.
Yeah, but also, what is that? Caller, please hold.
Yeah, caller, please turn the phone, turn on the radio.
Caller, you're live.
Caller, you're live. Go ahead.
Please turn the phone, turn on the radio. Caller, you're live. Caller, you're live. Go ahead.
Caller, we can't hear you.
Oh, you want me to speak now?
Well, I'm Jimmy.
Okay. Hi, good night. How are you?
I'm okay. Who's this?
Miss Trim.
Hi, Miss Trim. Miss Trim, you got to turn on the background. You're coming back with a feedback.
Yeah, I'm trying to turn it off.
Hi, Miss Trim.
I'm trying to turn it off. I don't know why it's not going off. Okay.
Talk to us, Trimmy. Talk to us.
Huh?
Talk to us, Trimmy. Talk to us.
Good evening.
Hi, I was just talking on my show. Good evening.
Good
And
evening.
Miss Trim has a Toys for Tots. She
The
has
famous
she has a
Trim.
great show. GT Bonner, Trim.
Yeah. I'm on Talk of the Tongue and Brickart Media. But I was just talking on my show about the stop. They should bring back stop and frisk, because this situation that's going on, I know people that turn and say the innocent will have to pay for the guilty. Because if you can't walk down the road and you can't go outside, someone got a knife to attack you, someone got a brick to kill you, someone got a gun to shoot you. Where is the stop and frisk? And they should bring back the hangman, the first.
So you say corporal punishment.
Person that gets hanged, I think the rest will not do what they do, because they're going for 10 years, 5 years, they behave good and they come out. But they still got the demons in them. And they continue going around and doing things. They don't have a home. They don't have a place to stay. Most of them just do things so they could go back into prison. Because in prison, they get a bed, they don't get food, and they feel happy. They don't have a job. They don't have money to pay rent. The rent is so high that when they live, the judge getting paid to put them out of the apartment so that the apartment can be sold and break down and renovate so they could get money, because they don't want the old apartments any longer. So the judge makes certain that they put them out. They don't care how they put you out. When you go to the shelter, you're meeting all kind of people that you're not accustomed to. You got to fight for your life. You got to stand up for your life. Why? That is what Mr. Adams should do, because he gonna run crazy. They're gonna run you crazy, because every day you gotta come and talk about murder. He needs to bring back stop and frisk. Don't listen to the people, because the people don't care, and when it happens, then they're getting down on him. They need security in Brooklyn. They need security in Bronx. They got to go rational and get it done, because you cannot afford. The elderly can't walk down the road. They're attacking them. The elderly.
Okay, wait. I have Jennifer Hunter is in comment. She's directly in opposition to the hangman. She said, and the Central Park would have been hanged.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about that, please. Because they were found guilty of first-degree murder.
Yeah.
Not first-degree murder, first-degree.
And they were innocent.
And they were innocent.
Yes.
So what do you have to say to Miss Hunter when she makes that statement?
I say the innocent will always got to pay for the guilty, because if you got to do something to get them out of the street. The street is rampant. You cannot walk now.
But it's not only homeless people who are committing some of the crime.
Get back their hangman. Let the innocent pay for the guilty, because the innocent don't know that they will not try to be around anything. People will get this respect for the police and respect for the city. They don't respect the police. They don't respect the mayor. They don't respect the city. They walk in and you can see them. And that's why a lot of people don't look at news. But I look at news and you could see how they're attacking people. The other day they had some young boys. I saw it on TV. They dragged that big person down, lashed that person probably in the head. And when I think that they're running to help her, no, these gang of boys just start tearing up on this woman. These are 14 years old boys. 14 years old boys. If the 14 years started, what gonna happen when 3 years come?
You know, I'm gonna say, right. I think I'm going to go back to Dr. Brian's favorite topic of mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've not really done a physical study. John knows more about this and he can chime in. I think mental health plays a component. And a lot of these, I do agree with some of the things that you're saying. I do think a lot of people, I would say more of the petty criminals do crimes to put themselves back to get
into jail. Mm-hmm.
To get back into jail. I don't think that a hardcore criminal who has spent 20 years, 15 years, 10 years want to go back to jail. Right? I also don't like the idea, because one thing you cannot give any man back is his life.
That's true. That is true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I do, however, believe in stop and frisk. I think they need to change what it's being done. Maybe you might complain. Maybe you might do a specific age group. You might do
age group. If you got 14 years doing thing age group, you gotta go down to 6 and 7 because
no. What I'm saying though, Ms. Trim, is that you look at an age group of individuals,
mm-hmm.
and then you might want to say, maybe 15 to 25 in an area where crime is very high. Mm-hmm. Something like that. But to say blanket stop and frisk, there's also going to be that racial component of it, which will, because there are a lot of racist people involved.
Mm-hmm. Miss, I'm saying, you know what? Let me tell you something. Stop and frisk should come back. I see for myself where the boys them walk in, and soon as the city police went, I never walk tonight for them. So the police is the person who handing them whatever to sell, and they got to repair it so they go wrong. When you don't do it, then they arrest you. I saw it with my eyes.
So I want to say not all, like Roger was saying, not all of the crimes happening is done by people who are mentally ill. Many of them are being done by gangs. That's another thing. And some people are doing it just because they can do it. How far they can push. That's another. Unfortunately, with George Floyd and after the whole racial episode, people want to see how far they can go. And that's where the breaking down of the police department came into, power that once was taken away. And that actually demoralized the police department. So a lot went into it too, because at the end of the day, you had a lot of police officers who actually quit and left the field.
Yeah, so because they don't defund the police. Everybody hasn't defund the police because the police do. The police, they have corrupt cops. They have corrupt cops.
Right.
And you got to identify the corrupt cops. But you can't defund the police and then you want the police to come and say, I want the police because if anything happens, I need to call the police. So when you going to defund the police and then we more danger than anything else? A man walking with a gun on the road and shooting you and No police is there. Police is ain't gonna go and say, well, they are putting their life out there. If you want to defund the police and the police can get this and the police can do, the lives matter. The lives matter.
Yes, you're right. It's a new rebuilding process that
You
moves
go to the army. You go into the police force to do what is right.
right.
And
But
if you go there to do what is right, then the public should respect you, and the public don't respect you.
unfortunately, that
Uh-huh.
lack of respect came out of what transpired last year. So
I don't know, but I'm gonna disagree with that, Joe.
no.
The lack of
No,
respect
it
didn't come.
went before that.
Oh,
It
for a
went
while,
before
for a
that.
while.
It just got
Yeah,
blown. It just got
exactly.
blown up.
To a different level. Right.
Right. But that
So,
lack of respect has
yes.
been around for a while.
Yes. Yes.
Wait, Empress, you got to explain what do you mean by this kind of message is crazy. I don't know what that means. What do you mean by that? And thank you, Miss Trim, for those comments, right? I think you bring up some very important comments about, things that we might want to look at, right?
Not the hanging.
Right? I mean, some people are going to agree with you, right? And that's what we hope. And some people are not going to agree, but at least you're provoking their thought to say, hey, what do you think?
We
right?
just came out with I think Biden
And thank you, Miss Trim.
a law about hanging
God bless.
criminalized. So we do not want to go back to hanging at all because unfortunately,
Hangman.
yeah.
Actually, I don't, you know what though?
No,
You know what?
No. Who was getting hanged most of the time?
Who's getting
Black.
hung?
So we're not. Yeah.
Hung.
Hung. Thank you for the correction. Hung half of the time was black. Merci. So we don't want to go back to that. No.
Well, here's a question. Just put it up there.
What? Please don't ask people to say
Serial murderers.
Oh Jesus.
The man that walked into the church, right? Right? The serial murderers. The person that walked into the church and killed all those people.
Roof in South Carolina.
Yep. The person that killed the 32 Virginia Tech students. The person that went to San Bernardino and killed those 6 people. Recently, what we had a recent mass murder, 12 people, right? 12 people, 6 people died and 12 got injured. Do you think they deserve the death penalty? And again, Empress, please explain your comment about the good have to suffer for that comment. Well, okay, that is her purview, right? So you could give yours, right? So the good have to suffer for the bad. Is that are you in agreement with it? Or are you opposing it? I don't know what that means. Would the good have to suffer for the bad? Are you just saying that comment is crazy and that should not be made? What I explain, right? So do you think the death penalty, public hanging, should be in play for that person? Or you just say no public hanging, period?
Who you asking? Me?
Hang on.
You.
No to it. Period.
So no death penalty, period.
I said you said public hanging.
Well, there's still the death penalty.
No.
So what's the point of how you die if you believe in the death penalty?
Roger, in regards to we're more to put that out there in public eye view, we are chipping away at people sensitized.
Interesting. Caller, you're live. Tell us your name.
Yeah, hi, Mr. This is Jennifer Hunter. I actually to come off the show to call you on my cell phone.
Okay.
I totally disagree with that lady in the public hang and bringing back the hanging.
Right.
Because that's the case. The Central Park 5 would have been hanged, murdered repeatedly over and over by the orange thing that called himself president before Mr. Biden.
So I have a question for you in that comment. And I was just asking Dr. Bryant the same question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in any level of the death penalty?
No, And that's because the justice system is not fair. The justice system is not
Yes,
for us
I
to
agree with you.
them. If the justice system was fair where we could trust it, and maybe I should speak for myself, but I could trust it, then I would say yes. Emmett Till got murdered.
Hmm.
Like if we want to go way back, and we come forward to Central Park 5, and there are many kids, many people in Rikers Island and all these jails that are innocent. They
Right.
didn't have money for the right lawyer. The justice system screwed us over and over. So no, I don't believe it should be. Now, if my child or one of my family members got hurt, yes, in my anger, I would say bring the justice system, bring the hanging back because I'm angered. But in level-headed, I would say no, only because we cannot trust. I personally do not trust the justice system. I don't.
Please hold 1 second. Please hold.
Sure.
A lot of mistakes.
Please hold, caller. Yes, go ahead, Miss Hudson. Miss Hunter, finish up. I'm calling you Jennifer
Right.
Hudson, the singer. Hey,
You
kumbaya.
can call me Jennifer Hudson. Just bring the bank account when you call me that, okay? I have no objection to the name.
Right,
Jennifer is
okay.
fine. H for Hudson, H for Hunter, bring the bank account.
Yes, that's the matter. The money is where the money is
That's
where it
right.
matters. Right, no problem.
That's right.
All right, no problem. I thank you for that.
Coming back to serious stuff, as you know, I'm a clinical social worker.
Right.
And Dr. Juju, okay, she
Oh
made
my God.
Did you say Dr. Juju?
Oh my God.
I was on the show when her godmother said, "That's my Juju."
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So Dr. Juju
Uh-huh.
mentioned about some of the crimes and not being committed by, people with mental illness. That's true. I agree with that. However, the police that this lady wanted, Miss Trim is so fond of, they're not trained to handle mental ill, to handle so-called perps with mental illness. They know very little about mental illness.
Right.
So you're going to take someone who don't, for example, Mr. Daly, you've been a teacher many years at my level. My kids went there.
Right.
You taught Spanish, you speak fluent Spanish. So I'm going to come now and teach your Spanish class and don't know anything about Spanish. I know very little. How
Right.
effective I would be. So when you call a cop because someone has a knife and presents to be mentally ill, this person who, number one, have to protect his life because, by all honesty, he wants to go back home to his family in one piece, which is effective. But you're putting him in a situation where he's ill-equipped. He's not trained.
Right.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Right. So therefore, he's going to do what police normally do, especially if you look like me. Shoot his ass. Get rid of him. And they say, "Oh, he attacked me. I was scared for my life." Now,
And that's what happened to one of my former students back in December, actually.
right. See, this is a multi-level issue that Mr. Adams and whoever before him and after him not going to solve it. Not. It's going to get worse. And I'll tell you one thing why it's not going to be solved. Because he's going to sit at the table with the right people. When I say the right people, he needs to sit at the table with someone like me, who's been at Kings County since 1990 in the inpatient child psych, adult inpatient psych, outpatient adult psych, and outpatient adult psych. We are the ones at the bottom. We're dealing with these people on a daily basis. We know exactly what's going on. When he sits at the table with cats and all those upper management people who don't know doodle squat, far removed from the problem, they come up with these policies that are garbage policies. Now, for example, I have people coming to my office for so-called therapy. When the lady said to Ms. Hunter, "I'm going to be evicted. I can't get no food stamp because I missed my appointment. How am I going to do therapy with her?" Am I supposed to, as according to Freud? No. I put clinical stuff in the back burner. I said, "Okay, you have no food. You're gonna be evicted. Let me start making some phone calls for you." So the 30-minute session that I'm sanctioned to have, I make it an hour and a half because I see that person. I see me in that person.
Right.
I could be homeless tomorrow.
Them where they're at.
And that makes perfect sense. I want to thank you, Jennifer, for the call in. We do have another call on hold.
Just before I finish, though, I want to let you know.
Right.
Then I'm penalized by my supervisor because you know what? The hospital don't get billed. They can't bill for the case work that I provide instead of the social work, clinical social work. So it's a multi-level problem. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. And I heard the job application to Mayor Adams as well. I heard that too.
I don't know about that now. I'm not
You're not a fan. Okay, a different topic. I think. All right, let me get to the caller. Thank you.
For calling in.
Caller, go ahead. You're live.
Okay, this is Ija, Empress.
Hey, Empress Danielle.
Yes, greetings.
Yes, go ahead. You have a couple of minutes.
Okay, I could get 1 minute if.
Go ahead.
Okay, you want me to explain the comment that I made?
Yeah.
It was
about this is crazy. Yeah, the phone. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who said she want the good have to suffer for the bad. That's what she said. When you ask about what about the innocent one, she said, well, the good have to suffer for the bad. That's what you see in so many words. And I don't understand. Maybe she don't have children, or maybe nobody that she love, especially black men.
Go ahead. I wouldn't say that. I would think that she does. But again, it's just like hers though. So let's hear your purview.
That's mine. I have to call black. I don't like to sugarcoat anything. For you to come and say that, what if your son do something? What if your son didn't do anything? And right away, the verdict comes down that he's guilty and they hang him.
Okay, so I want to go back to the question then. So you're saying, you're with Jennifer and Dr. Bryant that says, to hell with corporal punishment, as in death, the death penalty.
Yeah, because if you make a mistake, you can't bring the person back. And many times they find people. Yeah, they find that many of these people are innocent, but it's too late; they're dead. So
you jump so fast, and then you hang the person. What's gonna happen next week?
But Empress, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm going back to her level of frustration.
We're all frustrated.
Right?
We can't make emotion get us to do things that is incorrect.
Okay, good point, right? So what is, you have about like another 30 seconds, 45 seconds, right? And I want to make sure I give you some time. What then, the understanding of frustration that she's feeling, that we're feeling with the murder, the 12-year-old in East Flatbush, the 61-year-old woman that was dragged to death, the 5 people that were killed in Sacramento, what appeared to be a gang violence. What is your answer to those levels?
I'm gonna go with Dr. Bryan always. So you see, mental sickness is a big issue in this world. I'm not even gonna say this country. I don't think no one get up. Somebody with a normal mind.
Trauma.
Get up.
Incidents
and
in their
just
lives.
get up and decide to kill somebody and decide to do all these kind of stuff they're doing. People not getting the help they're supposed to get. And a lot of people don't believe in mental sickness.
Right.
Okay, good point. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And this is the reason why some of these things are happening. You want to tell me you go down to East Flatbush and a young kid, 16-year-old, just want to do you some harm for no reason? That's not a normal person.
That's true.
That's a very good point.
Not stopping to think what is going on with them. All we want, punishment, jail punishment. Nobody not stopping to help nobody these days. Send them to Rikers Island, you bring them back next week again. Oh, he's a bad child. Put him away. What do you think gonna happen? They go to jail, they come back, no help.
Mm-hmm. Or they get worse.
Put them back out in the street and then get okay. So that's why I'm saying. That's why I make those comments.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. And I think those are all valid points, but I still believe in, I believe that I personally feel, I don't know, I hear, and that's one of the reasons why, if I were a legislator, even though I believe in the death penalty, wait, let me correct myself. Even though I would want to see some level of the death penalty, I will never support death penalty legislation, because if I were to be elected, for those reasons that you both mentioned, I do see it. I mean, the Sacramento killing, the 12-year-old boy, I see it.
See, the thing is, many of our Republicans,
and it plays on our emotion. Wait, let me just say bye to. Go ahead, Dr. Bright. Caller, thank you for calling in. Go ahead, Dr. Bright.
Empress. Many of our Republican Party will vote for the death penalty because many of the people they tend to arrest is black.
Don't look like them.
exactly. But then they're quick to say, hey, it's a crime to commit abortion. So it's like, hey, it's not equal. It's not
Right.
equal.
Killing one way is not killing one way is not the
killing.
same, because I think okay, but I can actually hear the argument different, but we don't have time to touch on it. One is an unborn child has not made any wrong, whereas a born person,
for another
right, has made
Thursday.
some wrong.
So
Brandon,
villages,
last thing is just to say, yes, we do need to look at reforms in how police officers, and like Jennifer said, one, how they hired, and two, address the system, because mental health is not just people walking on some of the mental health issues are hidden until it's unraveled and situation were to happen. I think somebody's going around with the Terminator cop thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been, thank you for all the callers who called in.
we love it.
Right, we love it. Please make it happen again. We want that to happen. I've never seen Dr. Bryan so animated until she get these calls. Look at her little eyes going up. Yeah, you see her eyes roll, because Juju, little Juju got animated with the calls. All right, and it's very exciting. So Johnny got like 30 seconds. Oh, happy birthday to my friend Maureen, who celebrated a birthday today. Happy belated birthday to my cousin Gary, who chimed into the show, and a couple other people have a birthday. I'm looking forward to everything. John, parting words before we get
any point, starting from today, day, success.
Come on to learn and grow. Next Thursday, that's the day before Good Friday, Easter Sunday, April 17th.
right. And also, please, you like our show, subscribe. Even if you don't like it, subscribe and give us your comment that you don't like it and how we can improve. Send in your topics. Like us, because we want to be able to give back to the community. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Village Radio Talk Show. Right? Get it out there. That's how we can get some of these people on. God bless each and every one of you. Dr. Bryan, your last word. You got the last word.
Have a great week. Be safe. See you next week.
Okay. God bless.
Thank you. Bye.